Welcome to Good Game, I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo. Hex, such incredible advancements we've had in technology in recent years with games, from virtual reality to high-definition graphics to a whole new generation of consoles. But all of that fails to compare when it comes to the gaming phenomenon that is goats.
Yes, every generation is remembered for something, Bajo, and this generation could be remembered for the ability to play as a goat and cause mass destruction in Goat Simulator.
But the goaty goodness doesn't end there, because we'll also have a look at a scapegoat too.
But if all that gets your goat, we'll also be heading to the battlefield in Age of Wonders 3, which has no goats.
Also this week, Goose blows the dust out of a memory cache, and Dave Callan delivers the lore on Infamous. But before all that, can you name the game?
I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to get that fixed, I think.
Yes, well, in the meantime, let's simulate the domestic Capra. It's a goat.
While cats may be the superstars of the internet, it looks like they may be up for a bit of competition, Bajo, because right now it's all about goats.
Oh, totally. From ladder goat to yelling goat. We just can't get enough of goats. More goats, I say, Hex.
Ask and you shall receive. Presenting Goat Simulator. Whoa! Can't get away from me. Yeah. Sorry. I'll put it back the way it was, I swear. Goat Simulator was born out of a 1-month internal game jam held by Coffee Stain Studios after completing Sanctum 2. It started out as a joke, parodying other simulation games like Euro Truck Simulator, except, well, you're a goat. But really it served as a way for other developers to learn the ins and outs of the game's engine. Oh, he's getting dragged.
After releasing a video of this experiment online, the internet begged to be able to play it, and now the game is available for download, and it's gathering a bit of traction for its absurdity and hilarious ragdoll action.
Why, hello there. It's your friendly goat.
Your main objective is to cause as much chaos as possible, which scores you points.
The game's physics are all over the place, meaning the slightest touch will cause many of the objects in this world to come crashing down. Stonehenge! Oh, no way! Or just plain explode. Oh, God. But you can also attach your tongue to objects and drag them around to create even more chaos. It's so dumb, but you can't help but laugh at the sheer ridiculousness of it all.
Finally, a game where I can lick everything I want. The sound effects and the screaming and the strange little groupings of random dancing people is all a bit insane. And you can earn achievements and additional points for just about anything.
After getting over the initial hilarity of just running into stuff, blowing things up, and that certain glee that can only come from blind stupidity, you'll start to come across a few little hidden areas of the map that offer up some strange secrets and perks.
Yes, aside from a bunch of trophies hidden about the place, your main discoveries include a rocket, a goat versus goat fighting ring, a tower which takes you into some sort of goat dimension which imbues you with the power to summon more goats from the sky, a UFO abduction into space, and many more. Lots of these little finds will unlock specific perks that you can apply to a custom game, such as Jetpack, for example.
Yes, I liked the tall goat unlock.
Giraffe is so slow. Go, 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 go.
And you can even try combining a bunch of them to just see what happens.
My favourite find was the sacrificial circle, which required me to drag a bunch of bodies into it. This turned me into a devil goat that gave me, well, devil goat powers.
It's crazy, isn't it? And it's all so unstable that you'll regularly send yourself flying out of the map somehow, leaving you stuck in limbo.
Yeah, I think my main goal with this was to try and break it as much as possible.
Yeah, it all adds to the silliness. But even with the shenanigans and the secrets and the lols, the map is quite small.
Yeah, it really is just someone's playground they've thrown up online, so I'm not quite sure if paying real life actual money for it is worth it.
Yeah, let's be clear, you will laugh a lot playing this game for about 20 minutes. The novelty wears off pretty quickly, and while I have nothing against someone charging money for something like this, what they are charging for it is a bit steep in my opinion. You just have to be aware of exactly what you're getting, and it's not that much ultimately.
But there are rumours of a new map coming, which we hope will be free DLC. And we should mention, there's also a few user-created maps that people have made. We've tried a couple of them out, and while this could potentially add longevity to the game, I think people are just getting in there and mucking about and having fun right now.
We did have a glorious time with this game though, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Much like any internet meme that burns fast and bright, we were in giggles the whole way through. And then we were done.
I would say that's probably it for me.
Yeah, I think these games are great in that they take all the rules away and you're left to simply see how crazy and ridiculous you can be. And that's what game jams can be so great for, seeing how people both design and play with a new set of parameters.
While playing as a devil goat with a weirdly long tongue.
Exactly.
I'm not sure how much more analysis we can get out of this game. Hex, what are you giving it?
Well, I don't know that I can score it seriously, so I'm just gonna give it out of 10.
Interesting. I'm going to give it out of 10. And now here's Goose to tell us some news.
Thanks, guys. Renowned naturalist Sir David Attenborough is planning to present a nature documentary that can be watched in virtual reality. Titled Conquest of the Skies, the documentary will be made for standard broadcast. However, a special Oculus Rift-enabled version is also being created. How exactly the Oculus version will work isn't yet known, but director John Morris has revealed that they've been filming using a special 8-camera rig that captures a full 360 degrees worth of vision. An Oxford University study has found that violent video games don't make gamers violent, but frustrating ones do. Nearly 600 students were put through a variety of tests to determine what aspects of gaming led to aggressive feelings. The results showed that it was a lack of mastery over the game's controls along with a high difficulty level that caused increased aggression in players, regardless of whether the game was violent or not. And lastly, the upcoming vampire MMO World of Darkness has been cancelled after 8 years in the making. EVE Online developer CCP, who were helming the project, have simply stated that their efforts were falling regretfully short and all remaining staff will be moved back onto EVE Online. Oh, what's going on? How do we let goats in here? And that's all the news hey, no! That's all the news, I guess. Get out of here. Shoot! Back to you guys.
Thanks, Goose. You're a goat. You need to escape for a second time. This is Escape Goat 2. Escape Goat 2 is a puzzle platformer featuring a lovable purple goat. Why he's purple, we may never know.
Yes, what we do know is that he's got plenty of sheep friends that need rescuing.
To do this, you'll need to brave a series of rooms, each designed to make you as dead as possible.
Yes, you'll die a lot. Initially, all you have at your disposal is a double jump, and a dash which also works as a goat headbutt to break boxes and move some objects. The simple and responsive controls make navigation easy, but not the puzzles.
Yes, on the surface, this looks like a simple room-by-room platformer. And it's not a very long game, a couple of hours, a touch more if you do the optional side rooms. But it's surprisingly well made, and I found an inner beauty to the design of these levels and how they subtly teach you how to play.
Yeah, you're constantly building on what you learnt moments before. You'll move through a room and die suddenly, or get trapped, and you'll see why instantly.
I often find with games like these, I just get frustrated, but I liked how little I got frustrated with this one. It's just so well thought out.
Yeah, although occasionally it's right at the end of a room where you'll die, and that did feel a little cheap. Ah, so close to freedom. But the rooms are all really short, and that trial and error is, I guess, part of the puzzle design.
What I like most about this was it never got repetitive, and I guess that's helped by the game's short length. Each new level had a fresh new challenge, whether it was to stop electricity beams so you can pass through safely, or do some quick platforming around unsteady ledges. It was always different.
Most of the puzzles are solved using a little mouse that you befriend early on. Mouse can squeeze through gaps and click switches for you. Also, he gets a few magic items which allow you to switch places, create clones, or create a block which can be used to drop down on enemies or crush crates. I liked the addition of mouse because it mixed up the gameplay, but I did find the last couple of rooms a bit tedious.
Yeah, it was a bit of a difficulty spike, wasn't it? You're followed around by this giant bone snake, and it's the only mechanic in the game which felt a little unclear. I'm ashamed to admit it, Hex, but I did look up a couple of those last solutions online.
Yeah, and the answer is always so obvious that you feel even more stupid, you're just kicking yourself.
Yeah.
There is also a level editor currently in beta which allows you to create levels or download others. And that extends the life of the game a little. There's nothing much else to say about this, really. It won't blow you away, but it's a nice little goat-themed puzzler, so I think it's worth a 7.
I appreciate how well this game is made. It's got a lot of polish, but I also found it was just lacking something, a bit unremarkable at the same time, so I'm giving it 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, I think we have the right name the game footage now, so can you name the game for this week?
Bloody monkeys in the control room, Hex.
Hello, I'm Lore Master Dave Lal. Did you know that if the hero in Infamous had existed during the 1940s in the golden age of superheroes, he would have been called the Incredible Electro Bicycle Delivery Boy? And wouldn't that have been good? No. In the Infamous games, a humble bike courier named Cole McGrath is making a delivery in Empire City, where Darth Vader probably has a holiday home, when his package erupts. Also, the parcel he's carrying blows up. The almost catastrophic event gifts Cole a supernatural power over electricity. No! No! You see, Cole was in fact carrying a very powerful artifact called the Ray Sphere. This device has the power to unlock the super abilities of anyone carrying a mutant conduit gene. Those with the gene may not even know they have powers until they're exposed to the sort of energy present in the Ray Sphere.
I need those powers.
So, where did this amazing sphere come from? Well, it was a secret project funded by DARPA, as opposed to DARPA, which is a society for people with bad, weird faces. But anyway, the project was funded by a nefarious Illuminati-like society called the First Sons, a group dedicated to advancing the human race via transhumanism. Just so you know, transhumanism is nothing to do with wearing your grandma's underpants, more to do with bettering the human self through technology. Also, that Ray Sphere, that pesky Ray Sphere, was responsible for turning an undercover NSA agent into an agent with incredible superhuman powers.
You know, I had that thing in my hands once.
Agent John White was investigating the First Sons, but got caught in a freak accident with the sphere, changing him molecule by molecule into the Beast, the main baddie in Infamous 2. So, there you have it. A cautionary tale about how technology can be super cool, but also lead to a lot of nasty death. Remember that next time you're playing Candy Crush, or as it would have been called in the 40s, the Disappearing Boiled Sweetie Friend Loss Simulator. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to ride my bicycle until my package explodes.
Before I played big budget console games, in fact before I played games that were even in colour, all I ever played was Dark Castle. This black and white platformer was released way back in 1986 for the Apple Macintosh. It put you in control of Prince Duncan, a clueless looking guy who decides to enter the Dark Castle and overthrow its ruler, the Black Knight. But before you could face him, you had to collect a shield and a fireball power-up by exploring the castle's many rooms, each containing all manner of traps, pitfalls and creatures. What was unique was the game actually let you choose which of 3 paths you wanted to take first, with 2 of them randomly interchanging. Pick the wrong one and you'd land in trouble, literally. It was one of my first experiences at non-linear gameplay, and it was exciting. It also looked and sounded great, with detailed cartoon graphics and something I'd never heard in a computer game before, sampled sound.
Yeah.
Yet there was something about this game that haunted me as a child and still haunts me today, and it wasn't the spooky castle setting. No, I was actually afraid of how hard this game was. Dark Castle was my first time playing a brutally hard game, and it was, in a word, unforgiving. Critters would knock you down, pits would send you back to repeat areas, and worst of all, controlling the clumsy main character was a nightmare. Duncan was prone to tripping over, falling down, bumping into walls, and hitting his head. Okay, that last one was kind of funny, but no other game had ever punished me for having a main character that was this clumsy. In his defense, Duncan could throw rocks using the mouse, which, while it was a unique control method for a platformer at the time, it ended up just being awkward and difficult, just like his different types of jumping that each required a different button combo. Ugh. To this day, I only ever managed to navigate dear Duncan through all the rooms and collect all the required items once. I remember drawing a deep breath and opening the middle door to finally face off against the Black Knight himself, before quickly losing my 1 remaining life and being sent back to the start to try all over again. I never did defeat him. Today, it's games like Dark Souls that provide us with that tough, torturous gameplay that we crave, but that doesn't mean I'm any less afraid of what's lying back in the Dark Castle.
Thanks, Goose. Age of Wonders is a turn-based strategy series set in a fantasy world, and it's been about 10 years since the last one came out.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have to say I've never played or even heard of Age of Wonders before.
Yeah, me neither. In fact, I thought this was part of the Age of Mythology series at first.
It kind of leaves us in the dark about how this game relates to other games in the series.
This could be the best Age of Wonders game ever, or the worst. All I can say for sure is that it's both the best and worst Age of Wonders game I've played.
My father is King Saradas, once first Stormlord of the Dark Elves.
As you start the campaign, you're given a few screens of full voiced-over text to fill you in on the story. In a nutshell, there's been peace for a while between the races, but now they're all fighting again.
I found an opportunity to escape my gilded cage when Thanos was sent to negotiate with the Commonwealth at the Council of Origins.
It all felt pretty generic and dull fantasy to me, Hex.
Yeah, it doesn't quite rival the intricate fantasies of Tolkien and George R.R. Martin, does it? Although that's a pretty unfair bar to set. I do think it gives you enough motivation and, I suppose, lore to keep things interesting.
Yeah. I have to say, I did tune out after the Lizard Man was upset because he couldn't dunk his magic egg in the special pool.
He has a draconian artifact called the Radiant Egg.
That happened right at the start of the game.
I know. There's just something a bit weird about a Lizard Man that wants to dunk his egg into a special pool that I find hard to take seriously.
Well, story aside, this plays like a fantasy RPG version of Civilization. The main map is set out on a hex grid with cities and various encampments to take control of, build up and expand. And like in the Total War games, there's a separate tactical battle mode that you can go into when armies clash. The RPG twist to all of this is that you have a special hero unit who is basically the ruler of your civilization.
These guys come with all the RPG trappings, like upgradable magic attacks and skills. And as you play, you'll find new weapons, armor, and mounts you can equip them with. So they're pretty customizable, which I liked.
The campaigns walk you through the various races and their heroes, but if you just launch a skirmish or a multiplayer match, then you're free to choose whichever hero you like.
During the campaign, you'll also meet other heroes who will join your cause. They can definitely make your armies much more powerful, except you often have to keep them alive for the sake of the story. So if they fall in battle, it's an instant fail.
Yeah, I found myself having to reload quite a bit due to dead heroes.
It's pretty unforgiving, isn't it? Even without those insta-fails, I learned pretty quickly that everything can and will go very wrong in just a turn or two, if you aren't prepared. Just a few turns after starting wars, enemy armies seem to spring up from everywhere and quickly take hold of any cities I'd left undefended.
Then of course your economy collapses and you can't make new armies, then you fail. Always save before declaring war.
Sage advice. And as tricky as things are on the campaign map, they're even trickier down on the battlefield. When you attack most enemies, they hit back as hard as you hit them. Unless you flank them or used ranged attacks.
And I always love that strategy that really focuses on clever positioning of units and using their abilities appropriately.
Especially as armies are also quite small, so every unit counts. Each army can only have up to 6 units, and most units can only withstand 2 or 3 enemy attacks. So just 1 or 2 bad turns and it will all be over.
Enemy AI is relentless too, so your mistakes won't go unpunished.
No. You can try and bring in other armies if they're nearby on the campaign map, and try and win by pure numbers.
Yes, it wasn't long before I started just trying to steamroll across the map with as many armies as possible and letting the auto battle option take care of everything for me. It's a deep combat system, and I can see the appeal of trying to master the strategies there, but just for me it felt a bit too unforgiving while I was trying to learn.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games that clicks after dozens and dozens of hours of play, or if you're already a veteran of the series. What do you think of the grand campaign overall, Hex?
That I didn't think had so much depth to it. For example, when you're building up cities, there's no branching build trees or choices to make for specializing a city. With enough gold and time, you can just max them all out.
And it's the same with research and diplomacy. Given enough time, you can simply research everything, so there's no choice there other than which to research first. And while there are diplomatic options available, outside of a few story-driven alliances, they're generally pointless. The only real road to victory is force.
Yeah, I think overall it's missing a lot of the intricacies and tough decisions that make a game like Civ so compelling.
Yeah, those familiar 4X basics are still there, but it just didn't put me in that one more go state of mind.
Still, the more I played at this, the more I realised that this is a very different kind of game to Civ, and it has its own charms that did start to grow on me. I loved the RPG side of things, like finding caves and dungeons to explore and getting loot. And I really liked how when you zoom out, it turns into a classic fantasy-style map.
I feel like I'm nitpicking a bit with this one, Hex, but it is a really tough one because there's nothing in it that I hate, but there's nothing that I also love, nothing that gets me really invested and excited about this game. But it all works, so I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
For me, it's a 7.5.
There was much I did not understand, but the egg now glows like the sun.
So I ate the whole thing. I don't want to know. Oh, well, we're just about out of time for this week, but before we go, in our Elder Scrolls review last week, we couldn't test out any of the 4-player dungeons due to bugs. Now they've all been fixed, so we thought we'd jump in and have a bash.
I was surprised at how fun these were, Bajo, and how easy it was to auto-find a group. There's a lot of love been poured into these little gauntlets.
Yeah, despite the occasional lag making things very hard for healers and tanks, they're actually fantastic little dungeons, aren't they? And they don't overstay their welcome.
They really are. Such good fights. And I like the way they mix up tough single enemies and massive groups of healers and goons.
And I forgot the joy of running an instance for the first time and not knowing what's going to happen or what the boss will do.
Yeah, it's thrilling when things just get totally out of hand.
And expensive for a tank.
Yes.
I really enjoyed tanking in this. It felt really different because not only do you have to manage stamina and magicka, but you need to keep a stamina reserve so you can dodge out of trouble at the last moment when one of those horrible AoEs wipe everyone out. Plus Hex, I have Fire Breath. I love Fire Breath, and it's perfect for a tank because if you perk it up, it slows everyone down and gains lots of aggro.
And I know I go on about the visuals in this game, but the dungeons are just a whole different kind of beautiful. Lots of those reveal sections which let you just sit and take in the sights. Such deliberate and complex lighting at times too.
Yeah, especially the lighting with my Fire Breath, it's great.
Well, the more I play of this, the more I appreciate how it looks.
What I love most about these dungeons is you feel like you're working your way down these dark corridors to the root of the evil right at the bottom to cleanse it. And I especially like going back through the dungeons after you've cleared it to find all those little chests that everyone missed along the way. No one does it. Go get all the chests. We also eventually found some people in the massive PvP zone. And while we're still only very much dipping our toes in the water, it's quite a spectacle, isn't it, Hex?
Yeah, literally scores of armies riding over hills, occasionally getting lost as they follow the leader, but eventually storming castles of NPCs and other players. Trebuchets and battering rams and oil pouring down from castle walls. It's actually kind of incredible.
Yeah, I've never seen anything quite like it, actually. That can hold a stable frame rate anyway. It is a bit of a Zerg rush, though, and I do wish there was some sort of structured 5 versus 5 PvP. But alas, I'm not sure if that will ever happen. For now, we'll just have to be happy wandering around in little militia groups and picking off who we can find.
I think we've actually got this working now. Finally, can you name the game for this week?
No, okay, that's it. I give up. No name the game for this week.
Well, maybe we'll have better luck next time. And next week on the show, we'll be scrounging around for beans and trying to stay alive as we celebrate the end of the world in an apocalypse special.
Who will survive?
Well, I think obviously you and I will be fine. I'm just not sure about Goose, though.
Yeah, for a start, he won't be able to plug in his blow dryer. What's going to happen to his hair?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out. Until next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Speaking of Goose, can I just draw your attention to my top? This is a birthday present from Goose. He's drawn my cats as their wizard namesakes, so Gandalf and Merlin. How
Wonderful.
lovely is that?
That is very lovely.
Great birthday gift.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at what you gave me for my birthday. A calendar featuring a month-by-month look at your face, pulling different expressions.
It's a very personal gift.
What is that?
That was from Secret World, the MMO.
Oh, it's a bit rude.
Should wait till you get to December.